Hello, this is Anthony. Let's walk and talk. So today I'm at the park, taking a little walk. And before I get started, I wanted to first and foremost, tomorrow is Thanksgiving in the U.S., and I wanted to wish a happy Thanksgiving to all of my family, friends, and supporters. I hope tomorrow that you have the most incredible day, enjoying all of the amazing things that Thanksgiving has to offer, such as family, friends, food, football, fun, and all the things. Since Thanksgiving is a uniquely U.S., at least on this date, U.S. holiday, when I'm traveling, I don't get to experience it as you do in the States. So for me, I like to take the time to do, I take myself out for a little special meal. And when I also do that, I also like to, I do every day, but I really just try to take a moment to truly reflect, appreciate, and be grateful for all that I have in my life. And I hope that tomorrow you take a moment to do the same. So today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about why the ego is loud and why the soul is quiet or whispers. At one point we talked a little bit about this in order to try to distinguish between the message, the message of the two, and how to better have an idea as to whether you are getting a message from intuition, from soul, or whether it's your ego and your mind just speaking to you. And I want to explain to you the reasons for that. You see, it's important to understand that the thing that the soul has, which is complete opposite of what the ego has, is the soul has true strength. What do I mean by that? Well, the soul is connected to all. The soul is infinite. And because of that, the soul is whole and complete. It requires nothing outside of self in order to be whole and complete. And when you understand that, you understand that that is why it has true strength. It is infinite. And, understanding that's important to understand ego. Because you see, again, we live in duality, and when you start talking about the soul versus the ego, you understand that those are things that are also part of the duality of life. You see, you understand that ego, because it is not connected to all things, it exists within separation, and because it exists within separation, it lacks all of the things that are embodied within the soul. It lacks strength and power, and so in order for it to try to experience those things, it projects outside of self. You see, because soul has strength and power, because it is whole and complete, it requires nothing outside of self. So it is able to love unconditionally, yet also still offer freedom. Soul is able to experience all things while needing nothing. And because ego doesn't have the strength and it doesn't have the power, in order for it to feel safe, it has to project outside of self in order to try to create the illusion of that same power. You see, because the soul is whole and complete, and because it requires nothing outside of self, it is that calm in the storm. True strength brings stability, peace. And when you have those things, it's very easy to be joyful and blissful. But see, when you lack those things, the way that ego tries to operate is it tries to project outside of self. And so it uses different things like fear and manipulation. It yells and raises its voice in order to project the illusion of strength. And by projecting the illusion of strength, it feels like then it can provide more safety and more stability, but it's an illusion, you see. It tries to control the environment around it because it understands that it does not have the power to control the environment around it. It lacks all the things required in order to control the environment around it. As we're soul, it doesn't matter to the soul. Again, true strength doesn't require these things. It doesn't require raising its voice. It doesn't require controlling its environment. It is power in and of itself. Now, the reason, again, it's important to understand this is because it helps you to understand a lot of times when you are looking at different aspects of life, it helps you to understand whether you are embodying the strength of your soul or whether you are an ego. Why do I say that? Well, when you are embodying the strength of soul, you can just flow with life. There is no expectation. You will attract things to you, and you'll have experiences. And once you have those experiences, you'll learn from those experiences, and then you will move forward on your journey. But with the ego, you see, the ego tries to control things. And so when it tries to control things, it actually creates chaos. It creates instability. Because it is afraid, it tries to control the environment. And by trying to control the environment, that's when you begin to understand what aspect you are embodying. Meaning, for instance, if you're in a relationship and you get in a disagreement, well, you might raise your voice, or you might, project scarcity, meaning you might try to run away from, the relationship, or you might try to manipulate or create fear or try to control the other person in order to try to bring you some sense of stability. But what you're really doing is just creating more chaos. It doesn't, when I say soul doesn't require anything outside of self, well, ego is the thing that has lack. Ego is the thing that believes there's not enough money, or you don't have enough material things, or you don't drive a nice enough car, because it wants to elevate your status. It wants to elevate yourself in society. Well, if these are all things that you are experiencing, then you clearly can start to begin to see that it's, you're operating within the framework of the ego. And so when you understand that, it's easier for you then to start to try to understand what aspect inside of self do you feel not whole and complete, and then it allows you to either begin to take that journey to explore that and heal it if required, or to better understand as to why you feel like you have, why you are lacking in those areas. You see, I think that it's important to understand these things, because as you begin to understand these things, then you begin to be able to see what aspects of ego require releasing and healing, and what aspects you can integrate. But if you're on a journey where you truly want to embody your truest self, your soul, then you begin to understand that things like vulnerability, authenticity, that there's nothing to fear there. That those things actually are images of strength, that those things are actually very powerful things. And when you begin to embody those things, and you begin to release a need for validation external, meaning you begin to understand that the way you feel and think, you don't require other people to agree with the way you feel or think. That's when you can start to really understand and understand the difference between what your soul offers versus what your ego offers. But what say you? Do you understand the difference between the two? And do you understand why it is important to be able to embody the essence of what you are, your soul? Do you You understand now why the soul whispers and why the ego yells? Can you have a better appreciation then for why it's important to go within, to be in the moment, to be present, and to be able to listen intently and quietly on what your soul has to offer on your journey? As always, if you enjoy this content, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm truly grateful. And until I talk to you again, peace, love, light. I hope you have the most amazing day.